my name is Zaina Sayeda, and this is my research and development report for BCM 303, Collaborative Production Workshop. The theme under consideration is Designing Future Society for Our Lives, Osaka 2025 World Expo, and our group has decided to go with the Sustainable Development Goal number 12, Responsible Consumption and Production. Coming from India, I have personally witnessed the unfortunate widespread hunger issues stemming from poverty and lack of resources, among other reasons. I've always been an advocate for responsible food consumption, production, and wastage. I believe that the issue at hand is quite urgent and needs an effective communication model to educate the general population about its causes and impacts. The Sustainable Development Goal itself is quite broad, and hence, after an extensive brainstorming session with my group, we narrowed it down to the potential subtopic fast fashion. I will be analyzing Hasan Minhaj's talk show Patriot Act, where he talks about the ugly truth of fast fashion. Hasan Minhaj is a comedian and social influencer, and his show fits under the social political comedy genre. He discusses upcoming social issues in the form of an engaging presentation. His show has won an Emmy, 2 Webby Awards, and a Peabody Award since its release in 2018. The Washington Post wrote in 2020, "The show also went beyond reporting on the news and actually offered solutions. Patriot Act signaled that people should pay attention to what's happening around the world and explained how events from other side of the globe had a wider impact." Even though the show was released in some 190 countries, Patriot Act also posted every episode on YouTube so people could watch it for free. In the episode The Ugly Truth of Fast Fashion, Hasan Minhaj explains the concept of fast fashion with a clip featuring Tim Gunn.
Fast fashion is also about, when we say fast, it's not going to last in your wardrobe very long.
Fast fashion is about making trendy clothes quick, cheap, and disposable.
Hasan then explains Zara's approach to manufacturing and distribution, which is one of the many popular fast fashion brands.
There is a reason why Zara became the world's biggest clothing retailer. They pioneered and perfected the fast fashion business model. Now, generally, legacy brands release huge amounts of clothes in a few seasonal releases. They spend months designing lines, buying and treating fabrics, manufacturing in bulk, and distributing. It's a process that can take nearly 2 years. Zara completely changed the fashion game by combining two techniques. The first is quick response manufacturing, which basically says, forget big, expensive releases. Let's knock off a design quick, keep raw materials on hand, only make more if it's popular, and streamline distribution. So when new trends break, these companies catch the wave with lightning speed.
The billion-dollar apparel industry often uses highly unsustainable manufacturing techniques in all stages of fashion garment life cycles, from fiber production to final disposal, with intensive use of energy, chemicals, and natural resources. According to an article by Al Jazeera, United Nations climate change statistics predict a more than 60% increase in textile and apparel production emissions by 2030. The fast fashion industry creates a high-pressure work environment, especially for factory workers, in developing countries like Bangladesh and India. The working conditions are mostly unethical, with long working hours and bare minimum wage. There also happens to be a link between deforestation and textile production.
So there's 150 million trees that disappear every year into the clothing that we all wear. It's slated to double within the next decade.
I've never heard of that connection between fashion and forestry.
Yeah, well, it's not an intuitive link. That's something that's soft and silky next to your skin. Actually, it starts off as a tree.
After the forests are cleared, the wood is pulped and processed into fabrics called rayon and viscose. But it's shockingly wasteful. As much as 70% of the harvested wood is dumped or incinerated. Just 30% ends up in the garments that we wear. Canopy works with businesses that source from primary forests to find green alternatives. One of their main focal points is the global fashion industry.
For this assignment, I interviewed senior journalist Ben Langford from the Illawarra Mercury. He spoke of his experience with similar environmental stories that he had written for the newspaper. When asked about a journalist's role in the sustainable and economic development of the nation, he said,
I think always the role of the journalist is to try and hold the powers that be accountable on behalf of the public, and whether that's if you're in a developing country, or it's making sure that we're try to keep an eye out for problems of corruption or waste or misconduct by people in office, I guess. Of course, there's also just the flat-out role of just trying to spread the news about what's happening.
As a journalist, Ben hopes to bring the environmental issues to the attention of the concerned authorities.
If there's a failure of regulation, then, well, yes, you do want the authorities in question to be reading it and noticing, don't you? I guess you've got to just remind yourself that your job is to report the information, and what action might be taken as a part of that is probably beyond our job.
Ben believes that in order to work collaboratively in the future, journalists would need to be multitasking.
So good writing. I'd also suggest photography and sound and video production, to a basic level at least.
Ben said that the main response to the creative brief from a journalistic perspective would be to inform the public about what's happening behind the scenes in the most effective way possible.